How many of y'all know that God is greater than anything?
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Mr. Entertainment. You're listening to the Brothers of the Band radio show on WBND.
Let's go!
Yeah, that's right, y'all. WBND, we back live on air. It's the Brothers of the Band radio show. And I'm telling you right now, it's about to go down right about now. The phone line's open, 803-692-6370. Your main man, Mr. Entertainment, live in the building. Trap P in the building. What's good?
Oh, yeah. What's up? Let's get this party started.
Down what it is. And, of course, the Snow White Princess stats on deck.
What up?
Making it do what it do with her summertime tan. Summertime.
I don't have it. Summertime
and the general
tan.
cap out on location. All right, so here's the deal, man. Selling your soul for riches. Have we lost our minds? Like, have we just rolled over and just killed ourselves in lustful pleasures of this world when it comes to stuff, right?
Man.
So I remember back in the day, people used to always say he or she sold out. Like, you sold out. Like, what does that mean, Trav, when somebody tell you sold out? Like, what is that?
It means, I guess, when someone knew you and knew that you stood by a certain standard or you had certain principles in your life, and you give up on those things, or you let those things go to obtain something physical or monetary, and everybody know the results of what you're doing don't go against what you stand for, what you once stood for.
Okay. And that kind of clarifies it a little bit, because if you stood for one thing, all your morals and your integrity was right here, and then all of a sudden you got to another level and you dismissed all of that and just changed on me, you know, you let the money buy you out.
One of the things I want to say about that, and it's fresh on everybody's mind, because if you listen, and most likely you watched Empire last night, and they had the episode in the part where the son was going through mental health issues, and so he was being rehabilitated by a nurse, and she was big in the church, and so she helped him pray back to his sanity and helped him stand up, you know, giving him words of faith and inviting him to the church. And so he was feuding with his daddy. And his daddy came down to the church, which was Lucius, and told him, he said, you know, what are you doing in this church? And he said, I have a better calling now. I'm serving God. And he made a statement that I am your God. I'm going to show you how powerful your God is. So he took his fame and took it up to the lady in the church, which was Jennifer Hudson, who was a gospel singer who had devoted her life to Christ and only singing for the Lord, and offered her a record deal and told her that he would give her the opportunity to start a new gospel label. And she let everything she stood for, every aspect of what she told the son, and gave it up to Lucius as, God is good. I've been praying for this my whole life. And the son sat there and watched his daddy go give her something. You see what I'm saying? That he knew that was against all aspects of faith and righteousness, and she went for the cheese.
Boy, that's deep right there, boy. Now, when you talk about sitting there holding on, now watch this, Trav. Watch what you just said, right? So when you sitting there and you holding on and you waiting for your breakthrough, you prayed about it, you spoke about it, you touched hands, holy water laid the greed and everything, and all of a sudden your breakthrough comes. And now you telling me I'm acting brand new, right? Think about that brand new just for a second. I was down and out. I was in the gutter. Nobody cared about me. And my breakthrough came. Now I'm clean and polished. And you telling me I'm brand new? Come on, baby. I'm shining. I'm holy again. I'm brand new. Yeah, I got a couple dollars. And if I choose to bless you at that point in time, then here's your blessing. But to scrutinize that, to me, goes a long way.
But on one side, and I just have to say this, on one side, I like that. But watch this. On one side, it's you don't know what I prayed for, and you don't know what I've been through. So don't sit here calling me brand new, because you don't know what I did the work I put in to get here. That's one side of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, the other side of it is, you know what? Some people sell out because they've been chasing their dream and chasing their passions their whole life, and they didn't get the opportunity that they wanted. So this one opportunity came, and they was like, you know what? Now, instead of being a 25-year-old singer, I'm like 42, or I'm like 37, or I'm in my 30s now, so I'm just going to take it.
But think about it, though. We're looking at prosperity, right? Growth, you know, couple dollars or whatever. Like, where did the sellout part come from? I'm still a little bit confused where people throw this little thing out that he or she sold out for fame or sold out for success.
Well, me personally, everything I stand for in every message, every song, every aspect of what I represent God in the foundation of the mother, father, and the child, and their true unity and love. So when I resonate with someone in that likeness and I understand that about themselves, and we know that is the foundation that we must build on in order to manifest God in our life. When I know somebody or understand that, and I can see that they stray away from that, and their objective and their motive has nothing to do with their foundation of God, they sold out. Cause if you ain't coming from home, you ain't coming back home. And I don't know where they coming from, and I don't know where they going. But if it ain't about the family, it don't lead nowhere.
And you know what? Speaking of family, so sometimes our families can have a way of pushing us in a certain direction. And let me explain that for a second. Parents, when we start telling our children what they can and can't be, there is some type of rebellion that makes me want to prove it so much that I'll do whatever it takes to prove and show you that I can do it. That's pressure.
Yeah, I don't like it when, and just your parents don't always know what's best for the child. Now, your parents might have their vision of what they want you to be, but you know what? That might not be your calling. That might not be your vision. And I really think, and I'm good parents. I mean, it just is what it is. I really think, you know, if you have something for your kid, but your kid is like, I want to do this. And I mean, you have to meet them where they are. You can't expect, because then they're going to be unhappy and miserable. And you know what ends up happening? They're going to end up doing it anyway. It's just going to be later in life, and then they're going to resent you for it.
But that's where we supposed to come in at and be there for that guidance. Now, here's where the sucker parents come in at, where they throw this monkey wrench in there to say, I told you so.
Ooh, I don't like that.
Now, everything that you stood for just went null and void.
I mean, I do it now.
That's my thought.
I do it now with my kids. I don't think I'll do it later when they grow up, but I try to tell them, you know what, stop doing that. You're going to fall. Don't do that. You're going to fall. Don't do that. You're going to fall. And then they fall. And I'll be like, see, I told you. Yeah. But you know, they're young now.
I want to go back to something you were saying about, when you were saying, how people say you brand new or going back into the sellout. And I call that playground psychology. And what I mean by that is it starts in the playground. Like, say we as kids, say you was the smartest one in the class, or you was somebody that loved reading, and the other kids in the class couldn't so much read as good as you, and they would say, you a nerd, you're a nerd. And they would tease a child for being a nerd, and the child would somewhat become being ashamed of excelling at why they was in school in the first place. And we would take that same psychology and apply it to adults when we apply all the proper aspects to progress in life, and then we get it and we'll let somebody say, well, you acting like you brand new, you done changed, and we'll somewhat get in a defense mechanism to say, no, I ain't, when in actuality, I have. That is what I prayed for, is change. And when are we going to break that that playground psychology and be sure in ourselves and be proud to be an example of hard work or prosperity, and tell the person, you right, I'm changed. I'm something new. And I grew into it, and it was a process. And I ain't ashamed of it from nobody and around nobody. You better see it and understand it. So that's why I say, even when we talk about in our kids aspect, we got to break that mentality early to let them just mainly be assured themselves, understand themselves, and when they become confident in themselves, they'll stand up to whoever throughout life, even the parent. You know, when it comes in terms to what I am, what I know, what I love, and what I do, and the parent will accept it.
But you know what? Here's the selling out part. If you have known this person and this person has always been just an artist, just say an artist. If this person is always, you know, I'm against this, and every time, you know, he's around people or in his conversations, not just one time, but it's what he, you know, practices and preaches, like, man, you ain't got to curse in your music. I don't know why you have to do that. For years and years, it's you ain't got to curse. See, I do my raps. I'm hot. I'm this. I'm that. You know, when they selling it out they trunk, you know, they one way.
That's right.
And you know, oh, I don't have to talk about that, and I don't have to talk about this, and you don't need to be doing that. But instead of trunk money, now you done got yourself a little deal. Now you know you cursing in your raps, and you doing all these things that you done talked about me about, you know, when you was on the street and you was trying to, you know, that's selling out. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. And the sacrifice and all the hard work you put in to get to that point, you know.
But watch this. That might be who he really was. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, just because you act a certain way, now that you got money, now you can live maybe how you thought in your mind. Like, you was faking it until you made it where you thought you wanted to be.
So I tried it one way. It didn't work out in my favor.
So I'm going to try it this way.
It's a saying they say money changes, it do, but it really shows you who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Folks, if you're just now tuning in, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome. It's the Brothers in Demand Radio Show. Hot topic of discussion, selling out your soul for riches and money. Are you part of the sacrifice, or are you willing to break the curse? When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about moving up quickly, whether it's on the job or in some type of position. When we get back from break, what does it take to move up quickly? Whoo!
You're listening to the Brothers of Demand Radio Show on WBND.
Let's
go! WBND, we back live on air. It's the Brothers in Demand Radio Show. Listeners, you could have been anywhere you chose to be here with us. We really appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying the hot topic of discussion, selling your soul for riches. Man, there's some of us out here that just throw integrity out the door, but there's some of us, and let me speak to the good first of all, that there is some of us that do not compromise no matter what. If there's that few and faithful, I love you.
There's this quote that I like that says, I've never been a millionaire, but I know I'd just be great at it.
That's what's up. I'd be the bomb. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'd be giving away money.
But you know what,
honestly,
houses. You know what? Some people know how to handle money because honestly, it's paper. But certain things come with money. So when you a certain way, you can't afford certain things. Because when you have money, you can do other things.
Okay, speaking of money and riches, let me touch on this real quick while it's fresh on my brain, right? So I'm a pastor. I'm on the come up. We got a church member of about 20 people. Let me just say it like that. Then all of a sudden we get built up. We got a mega ministry on television and pews out the yin yang. I got a brand new jet, and all of a sudden I need another brand new jet.
Okay, Creflo, don't do it.
I ain't calling no names.
Don't do it.
Stacks. Why you?
Don't do
Why
it.
you trying to call out
Hey,
names?
look. He 85% of all preachers right now with a dream. Go.
See, I ain't trying to start that, y'all. I'm just asking a question, right? So,
but I'm being honest, though. You can't. I mean, even if any type of business,
okay,
church, it needs funds to run.
Right.
A business needs funds to run. Like I mean, you just call it tithe. You know, you call it tithes, like
offerings.
So okay, now
I
might can do what I want to do with the offerings.
There you
but
go.
now with the tithes, that's supposed to,
feed the poor.
That is supposed to sustain, but that's supposed to sustain the church
and pay the bills. But feeding the poor,
that sustains the church, and that's something that you do. Is that what you're supposed to be a church? Like that's what you do. But I don't necessarily think that you really need to be riding around in some Rolls Royces to be preaching the word. You see what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of tent preachers out there, and they preaching more word than you are up in your $65 million jet.
Well, I mean, I normally don't come to this defense, but I will say this. Now, there are some pastors.
Go ahead, Trav.
There are some pastors that may have a legitimate business aspect to them, or a legitimate grind in terms of outside of their passion for preaching the word or whatever. So there are some pastors with two different dynamics to them in terms of income.
I give them that.
So there is that pastor who is a businessman and he has a church, and sometimes we can judge him or don't know how to draw the line between what's church and what's his own personal.
But I think, you know what? But I think when people look at it from the outside, because I mean, it's all about perception.
Yeah.
Because you telling the girl on the front row not to wear mini skirts.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So I mean, you got to be careful when you're dealing with church. Like that's something sacred. You can't play games with that. But a lot of people play games with it. Well, so you can't necessarily. If you a pastor and you banking and you got all this money and a nice house and all these cars and you doing this and doing that, what does your community outreach look like?
There you go.
Does your church match your personal? Because it really should, in my opinion.
Now we talking, and that's what I was getting ready to talk about now, because there's salaries and there's funds, right? And funds get allocated, and tax purposes, you almost have to buy certain things. I'm very well familiar with that.
Absolutely.
But the biggest thing when it comes to selling out and being who you say you are is if you have this money and it's your money and it's accredited into your account under your name based off of how much you get paid, if you choose to buy a Bentley with your money, I'm cool with that. You could drive up in the parking lot. I won't blink an eye. But if we out here slaving and doing what thus says the Lord, and we putting our money in this pot to help do what we do and receive our blessing on the back end, if God bless us with a Bentley, thank you, Lord. But
the pastor can bless you with a $10,000 Kia. Like, I mean, you can go to a used car lot and buy like 5 cars and give them out to your congregation. I'm just saying.
As a pastor stats, I gotta at least have some leather seats with a nice suspension system or whatever.
I'm sure you do need that. See, certain things come with certain money, because when you can't afford them upgrades, you real thankful for your cloth seats, and at least you got, one CD changer. See?
So I want to know, is that doing too much when you have this amount of funds and you have to put it out there? Is that being greedy or trying to outshine and do all that whenever you spending that money lavish?
You spend your money on what you want to spend it on.
Yeah.
Just a thought. So getting back to my discussion, though, I want to talk a little bit about climbing that ladder to stardom, right? So we talk a little bit about sacrifice and what does it mean to sacrifice, and then what does it mean to be a sacrifice, okay? So it's going to boil down to self here in a minute, but when we're sacrificing to try to do something or to get somewhere, that means that we have to give up something in order to accomplish what we're trying to achieve. So if I'm giving up time, family, still keeping my ethics and my morals, you know what I'm saying, just to make it to be able to live a certain lifestyle or to be able to take care of my family, I can see the results.
Now watch this. Make sure it's worth it. Because in your mind, you think it's going to be worth it to sacrifice. See what you just said? You sacrificing your family.
It starts with me. It's my
right,
sacrifice.
but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So you got to make sure that it's worth it. So what you're putting all your energy and effort in, is it worth sacrificing your family?
Because you be sacrificing your family, be gone. You'd be like, dang, I did all this for y'all and y'all left me. Ooh. well, you never was here, you know. So that's a good point. I didn't look at it that way.
Well, I always say when someone establishes their reason, you know, the cause becomes evident. You know, if your reason, like I say, is based off your true foundation of your family, then, you know, I think those sacrifices will come as they may, and you will understand what needs to be made. But in the aspect of selling out or making that sacrifice to move up in the job aspect, I want to say, like me personally, I've been in management. I've been in the corporate aspect. I've been behind the curtain, so to speak, that most people never get behind. And let's just say in the terms of moving up in the job world, when you go to a job, that job has an objective. That objective is to obtain property for whatever type of business it is. You know, so when you sign on to management, you somewhat go into the higher objective of what these company goals are. And your job is to relate the goals to the workers. And sometimes when you're dealing with any aspect of authority, there comes a certain aspect of trust. So if I have authority over you, then most people going to have that trust in me that I'm telling them the truth. And in terms of management and moving up, you know, a lot of times the objective of the company somewhat override the emotions or the standards or the morale of the workers. And you're that middle piece. And when you know, sometime like me, myself, I came from a worker type aspect, and then I got into management. So I always understood the strife of the people who worked around me on the floor. And when I became in management, it's like they would say, well, we're going to cut people pay. And that's what we got to do. We're going to cut hours. We're going to cut this because we're not making enough. And so they would come up with some ideology to tell people that something happened, and they would trust me, and then they would go out there and just talk about, like, yeah, man, you know, this and that. And I'm like, and it's like, it was my job to let them know how they needed to understand that this is what's happening. And sometimes I got put in compromising positions. Do I sell out my morals or who I am and the loyalty I have to the people that's out here that respect me and trust me, that I am a part of them, and I do confide in them and they confide in me. And a lot of people take those morals and throw them out just to get a pat on the back or somewhat think it's in job security. And that's what selling out to move forward is, when you know you deal with the people on an emotional and real level, and you think you're above that and make decisions for a higher purpose that's even above yourself.
How many of y'all know that God is greater than anything?
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Mr. Entertainment. You're listening to the Brothers of Demand radio show on WBND.
Let's go!
Yeah, that's right, y'all. WBND, we back live on air. It is the Brothers of the Band radio show. Boy, the oven just got so hot. It just got like, yeah.
Shut it down.
So, talking a little bit about moving up and sacrificing. Sometimes we get to a point where we made it. We at the top of the hill. And then all of a sudden, the powers that be come in and sit you down in this big old long table. They on one side, you all the way down there on the other side, you feeling good, thinking you about to get the next promotion, and all of a sudden, this big old envelope slides all the way down to the other end of the table, and you open it, and it says your services is no longer needed.
Dang.
What was that all about?
You just get up and walk out. Like, why have a conversation unless you think you can salvage it?
Now, that's one.
I wasn't.
What would you do, Trav?
Well, you wasn't nothing but a number.
Exactly. That's how anybody is.
So, getting back to what I was saying earlier, Trav, and I hope you got something for it. Damon Dash made a great point about just that, right? About answering to the next person up, being a boss. And I like what he said, because what it did was it made me realize that I had to make that decision. I said to myself, do I want to keep going in, taking all this abuse verbally, mentally, it just starts piling up. Like, these people feel like they have this thing over you that if you leave, you can't do anything else. So your job treats you a certain way, right? But entrepreneurship has taught me, even on that job, when I went to that job, I knew for a fact that I wasn't going to be there too much longer. You done taught me too much to learn how to be self-sufficient because I watched you do it. Now, if you on your job and you can't see that and you want to be on that job for the next 20-something years, making 10 cents extra a year, I got a problem with that. I'm just saying that sounds like insanity to me. Help me out, Trav.
Well, it's like this right here, right? In terms of not wanting to be your own boss. You know, I got a theory that I call the big block theory, and I think it's that when you understand you and your position, what you stand for and your reason, that becomes your block. And anything outside that block that you come in partnership with or you come in contact with is to build something bigger than your block, to create something structurally strong for your block, in or around your block. So in terms of relationships, in terms of jobs, whether it be on the clock, off the clock, entrepreneurial, or whatever, it's about the objective for that relationship. If I go hit a clock and my objective of hitting this clock is to supply my foundation and my block, which is my family, which is my home, which is my responsibilities, then I create a mutual respect between our relationships. You see what I'm saying? And it feeds into that. But when I don't have an understanding of what my block is, I become a part of a block, and I get sucked into someone else's objective, someone else's reason, someone else's thinking, and then therefore you don't have your own direction. So even therefore we all are part of processes that there are certain things and aspects that we need from higher up, whether it be knowledge, whether it be understanding, whether it be financial resources. We're going to always need their hand down in order to be pulled up, whether it's a boss or a business deal. So I think once you understand that and have that mutual respect, you see, you can put everything in its proper perspective. But if you don't have that and you on a job and somebody know you don't have that, you're just thankful to have a job, but you don't even have a reason to why you're working, I can tell you and make you and ask you to do anything just to sustain some respect in my presence. And that's what a lot of people selling their souls for and selling out, is because their sole objective is to be accepted without a reason for being accepted at all.
And I would agree with that. And the one thing I disagree on, I spent 10 years in college, not me personally because it won't happen. I spent 10 years in college, half my life savings to be where I wanted to be. You and I made an understanding, Mr. Boss Man. Oh, I love you. Your resume looks great. We feel like you fully qualified. We're going to throw this peanut out there at you, and we're going to have you developed over the next 5 years to be the next CEO of the company. All this looks great and gravy. Sign right here. We'll put you through training.
Got him.
12 months later, your services is no longer needed. The company is whatever. We sat down. We thought long and hard about it. We love you. If there's anything we can do for you, you can always call us.
But you know what? That happens in business relationships. That also happens in personal relationships. You know, you just accept somebody because just for the time being, you maybe don't want to be lonely or whatever. And then it's like, okay, after you, okay, I'm done with you. Next.
All right. So now,
I mean, they have to give you something to stick around.
Yeah, let me give you something on that. One thing about education in the institutional form, whether it be college and degrees, All of that is extensive job training. The more education you get, the more qualified you are for a job. And understand that if you don't have a dream and pursue them, you will work for someone that does, or that did, or someone that is. So in terms of a job, see, like I say, man, if you don't have no understanding of who you are when they say I am, if I am a mechanic, that has nothing to do with me being accepted as a mechanic. That has nothing to do with me being validated to be a mechanic. That is because I have a passion to stick my hands inside of a car and make this car function at a level of understanding that I want to. And when you understand that about yourself, no one can dictate, validate, or tell you what you're not. And so in terms of a job, if I leave, I still am a mechanic, and I will always go fix cars somewhere. So when we get into the aspect of we put our faith in the job, we put our faith in 12 months, you no longer need it no more. It's like, I don't think you was there even understanding who you were. You didn't define yourself as a block. You was just looking for something to get into and searching for an identity. And those type people will sell out to become or be a part of anything.
I like that. And I think the biggest part of that whole thing is preparing your mindset when you sit down in that job interview and you sit in front of those people. You have to have two options in mind. You have to have an entrance strategy on how you're going to get there, and you're going to have an exit strategy in case something go down, that I'm prepared to be able to do this. And those two things go hand in hand, in and out. And when you can understand that part of it, that it won't catch you off guard, because at any given point that can happen. It will happen, and it has happened, and it's going to continue to happen. One of the things about ownership that I love so much is that as you start to possess certain things, you start understanding what it's like to obtain that and to be able to bring other people in like-minded with you. That's where you start developing business relationships with certain partners. And as they continue to get educated, now they branch off. Now you have a corporation of unity, stockholders, etc. I love the analogy of Black Wall Street. That is my favorite one that nobody hardly ever talks about. But I think the way that system was set up, it allowed us to be able to be powerful people in unity with like minds, to be able to have our funds in an area where it is self-sufficient within our entities, and we're buying from one another, in which the jobs is going to always flourish, because when there's a need, there has to be someone to be able to provide for that need. That is the cost of being in demand, is to be able to have that and say, you know what, I can go there and get that when I need it. The mechanic thing is genius. There's a lot of people out here with trades and skills. They can go right now and start sole proprietorship and do their thing and do so well at it. I've watched little girls on the stoops braid hair with the best of the salons that you can go in right now. Them little girls can right now braid hair for $25 and make more than the average person on whatever, because when they nickel and dime you on these jobs, folks, they give you, $10, $12 an hour. Whoo, that's great. Don't get me wrong. That is freaking great. But at the end of the day, if you had to survive off of your own $10 an hour, add 8 hours to that, that's $80 a day. What could you do right now and make $80 a day? Now you on your way to sole proprietorship to replace your income. That is a success story that you could build on and help your kids do the same thing. I'm Mr. Entertainment, and of course I have to approve that message. Stats, give me some words of wisdom.
You are not rich until you have something that money can't buy. You have to realize that money's good. It really is, because you can't survive without it. Like you need money. But whether I have tons of money or whether I have little to no money, personally, I want to be spiritually sound, and I want to be in unity with my family.
Wow.
Regardless, you shouldn't let your money dictate what type of relationship you have with your family or where you are spiritually. You have to carry those things and not focus solely on money.
Wow. Soul possession. I like that. Soul possession. That's yours. Good stuff, Stats. Trav, boy, I tell you, boy, you're bringing the heat tonight, baby. Set them on fire.
Oh, man. I just want to say, when you said, you know, the example of Black Wall Street, and you know how strive for and you know how powerful that aspect was, and you said you wonder why nobody never talks about it. And I think more or less the reason they never talk about it is because they would have to go into what happened to it and why it happened to it. And that's what we got to understand, and that why. And what happened to Black Wall Street, you can do your own research on it, but it's about understanding who you are and the power of you. And when you understand that and knowing the God in you, see, people fear that unity. People fear that understanding that when we know we can come together and create something bigger than any one of us as an individual and give it to the world and see God work in that essence, a lot of people become fearful there. And so now we always look outside of ourselves, looking for validation, looking for somebody to say you are, when the answer lies within yourself. You have to make that choice. I am. And until you make that choice, we will go sell our souls. We will go submit ourselves to things that don't matter, that can never lead to nothing, just to be accepted as something. But I want you to understand that, you know, one thing about wealth, we talk about old family wealth or true family wealth. It's just like, I'm going to give you one aspect. I'm a barber. I've been cutting hair since I've been almost 11. Don't know how I know. I say God taught me. And sometimes I look at a barber shop and I say, right now, haircuts cost $20. Going back when I was little, they was $10. And it's like everybody wanted a haircut every 2 weeks or every week. When you accumulate that in life for somebody who raised a family of kids who understand and want to feel good about their grooming, look at the amount of money that just one child in your family who knows how to cut hair can save your whole family in a lifetime, and will teach the other sons and the other cousins that they will obtain that own money within their family. That equates to thousands in a lifetime. So when you have that son who knows who he is and who knows what he loves and loves how his grandfather taught him how to work on plumbing and all those type things, when we understand who we are and what God has given us and stop looking outside for everything, you will understand that God gave you everything already, and all you got to do is look inside. But where are you looking? Like I told you earlier, it's about that box. And the box inside the box is the mother, the father, and the child. And when you look for that foundation in yourself, you will find all God has to offer. I love you.
Man, appreciate that, Trav. Folks, you've been tuning into the Brothers in Demand radio show. You could have been anywhere you chose to be here with us. It means so much. If you like what you heard, tell 10 people. Tell them, tell 10 more. Let your voice be heard or forever hold your peace. Log on to WBNDradio.com. Check out your favorite radio personalities. Hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram at Brothers in Demand. And when you see the little thumb and all that stuff, hit it, click it, like it, love it, spread it, and just make it do what it do, baby. Coming up next, The Journey, a meeting of the minds with my girl Kimberly, the educated natural, and Miss Jennifer Foxworthy. They're going to talk about being your authentic and true self. Just be yourself. Yeah, I said it. It's going down. Check out the Brothers in Demand radio show every Tuesday and Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on your favorite inspiration station. With that said, keep tuning in. We got to get up out of here, baby. Peace and so chugga 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 waka waka, yeah.
Stop, no.
Whatever, Stats. I got to get my what's the name of that movie again?
No.
Super bad.
And you better know it.
That's my movie.